Well, former Prime Minister Helen Clark says despite being Labour's leader for less than 3 months, Prime Minister-elect Jacinda Ardern has proven she has a backbone of steel. Ms Clark told me via Skype from London she was proud of Ms Ardern's success and her strength during the negotiations, but had yet to talk to her.
Not spoken, but we have communicated by WhatsApp several times.
And what have you said to her?
Well, obviously, congratulations, a phenomenal job done in those negotiations to get to the point where Jacinda is on the brink of being sworn in as Prime Minister.
I think you've described it as extraordinary what has happened since the election, or since before the election when she became the Labour leader in that short period of time. How has she been able to do it, to ascend from deputy leader position in opposition to Prime Minister in the space of 3 months?
Well, she really stepped up to that challenge. She was throwing a pretty curved ball back when Andrew Little stood down, and she was unanimously selected as leader, and it looked like mission impossible. And I guess at the time she thought, well, you know, I can save the party from a crushing defeat, but how far can I take it? But actually, she took it all the way to quite a credible result. It has to be remembered, when I first formed a government, you know, we weren't too far away from the support that Jacinda has drawn in, I think somewhere around the 38% mark. So that was incredible in just a few weeks. And then to go on and negotiate quite a complex agreement with the three parties, I think shows considerable negotiating skills. So from what I've seen through the campaign and then the way that they have doggedly stuck at these negotiations, I think she's got the making of a good term of government in her.
You're speaking to people all over the world about this. You've been speaking about it in the last few hours. What words are you using to describe Ms Ardern?
I think that Jacinda is characterised by enormous empathy. She exudes empathy, and she's a very, very good communicator. So people very much feel, and I think the perception is the reality, that Jacinda is interested in them. She's interested in their families. She's interested in how they are doing. She wants to make a difference for people. She's very motivated by that. And I think people warm to her because she is warm as a personality and can communicate that warmth.
Is that enough, though, to be the leader of a country, to have that empathy? She needs much more than that, doesn't she? She needs to be...
I think she's shown she's also got backbone and some steel. She did quite well in some pretty tough debates that she was, you know, thrown into with reasonably short notice as a new leader. So, look, empathy is an incredibly important thing. The ability to communicate is incredibly important, but also to have backbone, to be firm when you have to be firm. Consult, include, but be firm.
Political scientists are talking about this as a story for the political textbooks. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think it's not only New Zealand that's breaking the mould. We've just in the last few days seen a 31-year-old in a position to become the Prime Minister of Austria. We saw Emmanuel Macron at 39 become the President of France. Who would ever have thought that would be possible, and as an independent candidate? So we're in a new age. I don't think this could have been done in my time as politics, but I think people are much more open now to young people coming forward and doing their best.
And do you think her youth is the most fascinating aspect of this? I mean, what about, you know, the negotiations that have gone on, the fact that it's not the party that got the most votes that is now in power?
I think it is her youth that has really got the international media sitting up and talking. The fact that she's not only young, but is also a young woman adds another element to it, because we don't have too many young women leaders around the world at all. In terms of the biggest party or not, in New Zealand, that's the way it's gone over the first 20 years of MMP, but it's not the way these systems work everywhere. The Norwegian Labour Party, for example, has generally been the biggest party, but not always formed the government. So it's just the way these proportional systems work. You can have close to half the votes, but if you can't form the alliances that are going to take you over the line, then you're going to end up with the silver medal, not the gold one.
A lot of people since polling day have been talking about, a lot of voters saying they've been talking about this election in terms of winners and losers based on who got more seats. Even Australia media reporting that the losers are actually in power now. Do you think that the New Zealand voter actually understands the concept of proportional representation and that they're going to accept this?
Well, actually, I think they do. I listen to a lot of conversations about how people say they're going to vote. And some people quite consciously vote for a coalition partner. I might say, as a party leader, I found that a bit depressing. I used to say, well, look, we'll look after that in the negotiations after the election. But there is certainly a body of voters that want to pick the coalition partner for you. And it's also true that in this election, Labor went in with an agreement with the Greens, just as way back in 1999, I went in with an agreement with Jim Anderton and Sandra Lee. So when people voted for you, they knew what the package was going to be.
Have you spoken to Winston Peters?
No, I haven't, but I will be sending him a text. Look, for the record, I worked with Winston Peters very closely for 3 years. And I have to say, when he gave his word on the formation of the government, that word was never broken, and it was a harmonious working relationship.
And that's the former Prime Minister Helen Clark.